Hello, Stamping friends. It's Sharon Armstrong here with my tips and tricks for my January online card class. If you did not take this class but would like to receive my PDF instructions, you can click the link below and order yours today. All right, so I am using Inside the Lines, which is the free celebration paper that if you spend $50, you can choose this paper for free. I'm using the new watercolor pencils by Stampin Up. And the tip that I have for you is that you can just take your pencils and just color quickly. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time. By the way, these pencils work better the duller they get. You don't want to have a real sharp point. You just want to keep, enough that you can color with, I guess. But you just don't want to sharpen them all the time because then you're going to use them all up too fast. If you just color lightly, then you could take your aqua painter, and this one is a little bit wet. I'll wipe that off a bit. And then just kind of fill in a little bit with that, and it just blends those colors really well, like that. And of course, you'll want to let that dry. All right, so the other fabulous tip I have for you is the Stampin' Up! Wood mount cases. Take a piece of that designer series paper. It's 12 by 12. You're going to cut it down to 7 inches by 11 1/4. It goes into the wood mount. If you're going to use the clear mount case, then you'll need to adjust your paper accordingly. So let me show you what I put inside. I put an aqua painter. I put a blender pen because that also works really well. I have a set of the watercolor pencils, and I cut up the 12 by 12 sheets into 4 by 5 1/4 pieces. I have an adult coloring kit on the go. I can just be sitting watching TV, maybe doing some coloring. I could have all these colored and then make cards just like this, or I can cut them up into pieces and use them on other card fronts. So there you go. That is my fabulous tip of the day. I hope you like that. All right, I'm going to tidy all this up and move on to the next card. Hello, Stamping friends. I'm back with the second card, and this card is using the copper foil and the copper embossing powders. I tell you, I could just put copper foil on everything. I just think it's stunning. It was in the holiday catalog and Stampin' Up! Carried it over. So please help me order some more of these so that they know that we all love this paper and that we want it to continue to be in our product line. All right, so the tip I have for you is when you're cutting the copper foil sheets, cut only the piece that you need. Don't run a large piece through the Big Shot because it is a thicker piece of paper, a thicker foil, and so any indentions that may be on your cutting pads, any marks, that's all going to show on this foil paper, so you don't want to do that. In the instruction sheet, I show you how to run it through, and then you're just going to snip off the body, and then you're going to attach the wings with just a glue dot. That way they can fly, okay? All right, hope you enjoyed this quick tip. I'm back with card number 3. Card number 4. And I think that this is probably one of my favorites. And isn't it so simple? It is so simple, but what the thing that makes it my favorite is the watercoloring underneath. You're going to take a piece of shimmery white cardstock. This holds up really well using water on it. It's got a little bit of a coating so the water doesn't go through the paper completely. And you're just going to pick some watercolor pencils and you're just going to scribble. And on that card, I used Pacific Point, Old Olive, what was my other one? Bermuda Bay. But I wanted to add a pop of pink, so I picked the Melon Mambo up. I want to make a card with that. So you can see that I'm just scribbling colors. alternating. I want a little bit more pink. I think I want a little bit more pink. All right, let me fix this again. So making them about the same size, you don't have to be exact. You just want to make sure that you're coloring, and I'm not quite, but I will be filling it in when I use the water. You want to make sure that it's going to fill up this dragonfly space. All right, so then you're going to take the aqua painter and you're just going to blend. Look how pretty. Oh, that made it purple. That's what I was hoping. A little purple there. Oh, that was a little muddied. So be careful when you're blending so that you don't make it too, got a little purple. Just soften up those lines. Okay. All right. You could take a heat tool and heat that, but you want to make sure it's good and dry before you take this and run it through your Big Shot. Isn't that going to be pretty? Oh, look at the colors. Oh yeah. I can't wait to make this one. Okay, that was my tip for that card. Again, if you are not in my online class and you want to purchase the PDF instructions for these cards, you can check the link below. Here I am again with another card, super duper easy card. I had to make a card with the bumblebees. There's bees in the Dragonfly Dreams set, so I wanted something fast and simple, and to me, black and yellow screams bumblebees, so that's what I did. The best tip that I have for you, and I point that out on the instructions, is to use multi-purpose glue. I ran the Daffodil Delight cardstock through the Big Shot using the Softly Falling folder and the embossing folder. And when you do that, if you just try to put snail on it, sometimes it won't stick. This will pop off. But if you will just put some multi-purpose glue, it gets down in those grooves really well. And then you can mount it to your basic black cardstock, and you're good to go. I put the layers on with some dimensionals. I did my stamping across the bottom using Daffodil Delight and then just stamped the sentiment. Easy peasy. But again, had to use those bumblebees that are in that stamp set. All right, come back for the next card. Okay, stamping friends, this is the card that you're going to be glad you watched the whole video for. This is one of the Pop and Twist cards. I love these type of cards. I did a lot of research. I gave it a try with some other instructions and I just couldn't get it. I struggled. So I kept playing with it. I kind of used instructions from this person and watched a video from that person, and I came up with my own mechanism for the Pop and Twist. So I'm going to give you some tips, but I want to point out that in the PDF instructions, I give you lots of step-by-step photos, okay? Because it's a little bit complicated, but once you make one, you're gonna make more, I promise. It's a fun card, and when I showed it to someone yesterday, they just went, oh, wow! So that made me happy. All right, so you're gonna need a piece of paper. I'm using Whisper White, and it is 8.5 by 10 3/4. Again, the instructions are all the dimensions are in my PDF instructions, so I may not tell them all to you here on the video. I wanna show you how to make this mechanism. All right, I'm going to score on the short side, so on the 8.5 inch side, I'm going to score at 2 1/4, 4 1/4, and 6 1/4. Then I'm going to turn it around, and on the long side, I'm going to score at 3 7/8, 5 3/8, so 1 2 3, and then I'm going to score at 6 7/8. I'm sure you can't see the score lines, but you know I did it. The next step is I'm going to take, and I know if you've ever watched me before, I never, ever, ever use these awesome scissors on paper. However, I found that I got better results cutting these score lines when I did that with the longer bladed scissors. So we'll just see how long they last with me doing this trick. All right, so I'm going to cut off the 4 corners. So I'm at that first score line, I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to cut at that other score line. And then you have all these pieces of Whisper White that you can use for embellishing inside the card or using on another card. These are great size pieces. Okay, so now I have my mechanism. I'm going to back out just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. There we go. All right, so you're going to pick it up and you're going to use your fingers to kind of get this going here. We want it to pinch in. I'm trying to... You kind of have to work it a little bit. Oh, first of all, go ahead and fold on those score marks, and that way it'll be a little bit easier too. There. Okay, so I'm going to get... So here's what I'm trying to do. I'm not having much luck, but you want to pinch it in like this. So let me give it another try. It's only because I'm on the video, that's why. Okay, here we go. So you kind of... And it's okay if this is not pretty. You're going to find that there's lots of maneuvering, I guess is the word. Boy, why won't that do that? Like I said, it's because I'm on the video. There we go. All right, so we have our piece, and forget it. I'm just going to use this one. So we wanted to do this, okay? So what you're going to do next is you're going to take and bring this piece to where it meets that score line. Let me show you this one. So there's a score line right here. So you're going to take and bring this down, and then you're going to take your bone folder and give it a good crease. Okay? So you're going to do that on the right side, and then you're going to do it on the left side. So you're going to pull this in, give it a good crease. Okay? So that when your mechanism comes down, it starts to look like this. So then just take your bone folder. I'm going to work with that one. I don't know why I couldn't get it to do it. Take your bone folder, give it a good crease. Some of the other tips that I saw said to do a diagonal score from this corner to this corner. And when I did that, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but you can see where when I did that, oh, let's fold it. Let me show you. This is what I was coming up with. I'm glad I kept this piece. So mine had wings. Huh. It likes my other mark better. Basically, it was doing this. So see where I scored previously, and I had wings sticking out. That doesn't work. You don't want wings sticking out of your card, okay? You want them to come inside, all right? So then you're going to take a piece of cardstock, and I have already scored it. So I want to use my fast fuse. This is a moving part on the card, and you don't want it to fall apart. So I'm going to put fast fuse here, check, here, check, here, check, here, check, here. Yes, it uses a lot of fast fuse, but like I said, you don't want this to fall apart. So this is going to be my card base. And I'm going to simply take this, place it inside, and I want a little bit of a border around it if I can, okay? And so all I do now is I just close it like that. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to add my fast fuse to this side. And then I'm going to close my card. Ta-da! It works! All right, like I said, I'm going to keep playing with that piece. I don't know why I couldn't get it to work. All right, so the next step to this is you're going to need a piece of cardstock. And again, your measurements are in the PDF instructions. I have scored it so it looks like an M or a W, depending on how it looks on your screen. And I want to take, this is the only tricky part of this card, okay? Because if you don't adhere this piece right, your card's not going to open. Ask me how I know that, because I did it. So when I refer to top panel, bottom panel, this is what I mean, okay? When you're looking at the PDF instructions, so top panel, bottom panel. It doesn't matter which ones you do on the left or the right, as long as it's the opposite. So in your instructions, I say to attach, apply adhesive to the bottom left. That's this one. And then I say to attach it to the top right, which is this one, okay? So top right, bottom left. That's what I mean. You're going to take, and you want, let me show you the card again. So see how we have that W? Okay, don't look too close at this card because this had lots of boo-boos on it. But that's how we learn, right? So I'm going to take my center score. So I've got a score line on my Whisper White, a score line on my Melon Mambo, and a score line. So I want this all to line up, okay? And then I want to make sure, let me show you, that I line up with the Whisper White panels on the side. Okay, so everything's lined up. All right, so I have my flap up. Because of the instructions, I'm going to do the left side first, like I said. So I'm going to fold this piece back. I'm going to apply fast fuse just to this little part right here, not on the top panel, just the bottom left. And I pretty much filled it up. I don't know if you could tell that on the video. All right, so now I'm going to close this. And I'm going to do the right side. And what part am I doing? Top right. Lots of fast fuse. Close it. And the magic happens. It all starts to go back in. So once we get it in first, then it'll be easier. All right, so ta-da, that's the mechanism. So it might catch a little bit when you're closing it at first. Once I put, and let me tell you why it's catching. It's catching on my score marks. Let me show you my card again. I have a piece of Designer Series paper here and a piece here. So then it's nice and smooth and it doesn't catch. See? All right. The rest of the instructions, like I said, to decorate the card, to stamp the panels on the inside, those are all in your PDF instructions. I hope you have fun making these pop and twist cards, and we will see you next time. Thanks for watching.